It's time we talk about white men killing people for very little reason at all. On Monday, Jordan Neely was killed on an F train in New York City by 3 men, but the primary person was a Marine who put him in a chokehold for 15 minutes and killed him. Jordan Neely's crime was having mental health issues and acting erratically. And so far, the Marine who killed him has not been charged with any crime.
Jordan Neely, 30 years old, a history of mental illness, experiencing homelessness, gets on a subway train yesterday here in New York City. He asks for food, he asks for water. Some described what he was doing as being very erratic. A 24-year-old ex-military white dude takes it upon himself to put Jordan Neely in a chokehold for 15 fucking minutes and kills Jordan Neely while in that chokehold. That young man was questioned and released later that day. I don't think anything is going to happen to him. Now, why is it not surprising to me? It's not surprising to me because that's exactly what the NYPD would have done had they gotten to Jordan Neely first. So of course they're going to let him go because that behavior seemed very appropriate. This is an incredible injustice. We must demand justice. Fuck Mayor Adams for supporting the police with all of his heart, soul, and might. Fuck the NYPD.
Jordan Neely is currently fucking dead after he was choked out for 15 minutes by a Marine. He was asking for food and water. He was hungry and houseless and experiencing a mental health crisis. And now he's fucking dead. But none of you get to act fucking surprised or heartbroken when every single time something violent in this country is blamed on mental illness. Black disabled people have been telling you for years now that blaming violent behavior on mental illness only excuses white people while criminalizing black people. And it leads us to getting killed. It leads black, disabled, and mentally ill people to getting killed.
Alright guys, so we have to continue with our coverage of the Jordan Neely situation, aka the left's George Floyd 2.0. However, I got a feeling that the case of Jordan Neely is going to be closed pretty quickly because, to me, just based on the circumstances, if you guys didn't know, Jordan Neely was a homeless man who was arrested over 40 times, including for assaulting an elderly woman in the face, okay? The guy has a history of assaulting people, of harassing people in New York City, in subway stations, and he ended up getting choked out by a white veteran. Now, if you guys have seen the video, it wasn't just the white veteran holding the guy down. There was also a couple other men there who seemed to be helping hold down Jordan Neely as well, which to me suggests that he probably was a threat, okay? That he probably was harassing people since multiple men felt the need to try to hold him down. And it's not like anybody had a real issue with the veteran basically taking matters into his own hands and stopping the threat. I think everything that I've seen, everything that I've heard thus far when it comes to this incident, to me, signals that this is more than justified and that this guy definitely was a threat. But at the end of the day, I don't know, and I'm not afraid to say I don't know. I want to wait and see what information comes out before I actually make up my mind in regards to this situation. However, that has not stopped the race hustlers of America from coming out here in full force and crying racism, okay? This is systemic racism. This is just another example of a white man getting away with murdering black folks, okay? Like this person right here, Miss Olayemi Olurin, okay, who is a political commentator for The Hill, I believe. I mean, she's appeared on The Hill, okay? And this is what she had to say. She says, "I'm going to say this plainly as humanly possible. America is a racist country with racist leaders, institutions, plus media. Jordan Neely is dead because a white man, the white man, wanted to kill a black man, and that white man is free because white America is glad he did it." That's the truth. Well, I mean, look, I don't think it's necessarily white America is glad that he did it, but I will say this: law-abiding America, right, is fed up with criminals, okay? We're fed up with homeless people being allowed to harass and threaten people in all these major cities. Law-abiding citizens are fed up with Democrats and progressives and their soft on crime policy and agenda. Okay, that I will say that law-abiding America is fed up. Okay, let's read more here. I don't know how many videos you have to see of white people and cops murdering black people before we accept that it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. They always justify it and defend and celebrate the killers because they want black people dead. It shouldn't be hard to accept. Again, I wonder what she has to say about all of the black children, right, and the black people that are killed every single day in this country about all the black folks. I'm pretty sure she's not nearly as passionate about that subject, okay, because it doesn't fit the narrative. But we have AOC, who's a public official, as well, who've come out and prematurely called this a murder, okay? She's saying that this is murder, even though she doesn't really have any evidence to suggest that this is murder, but she's already convicting this guy of being guilty in the court of public opinion. She is continuing to tweet here. She's saying, I have yet to hear a real explanation from any official hesitating to condemn the killing of Jordan Neely about what makes condemning this violence so complicated. Killing is wrong. Killing the poor is wrong. Killing the mentally ill is wrong. Why is that so hard to say? Neely's last words were literally about how going to jail was easier than accessing the social safety net support to get back on his feet and lead a life. Yet leaders want to raise his record as if that warrants a public execution on the subway. What have we come to? I represent Rikers. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard from both COs and the incarcerated that there are people who commit petty crimes because their easiest way to get a bed and doctor. For many vulnerable communities, especially the mentally ill, we make living in jail easier than living out of it. That's what happened when we defund everything but the carceral state. Yeah, so here's the thing. Where was AOC defending Andrew Yang when he was running for mayor of New York City and he suggested institutionalizing homeless people to get them off the streets, right? The progressives came out in droves and said, no, you can't say that. You can't force homeless people off the street. You can't actually have a solution, right? This is what they said. Now they want to boohoo, whine, complain when something happens and talk about how older homeless people need housing and they need to be institutionalized. Again, it's amazing how that works. But what she's doing here is that she's responding to Mayor Eric Adams, who actually went on CNN and basically ripped AOC for prematurely calling this a murder. Take a look.
So one of the reasons that this story is really hitting a nerve is because this man appeared to be having mental health issues. This is something that you've talked a lot about, but I want to read to you. This is a response from the comptroller, Brad Lander. He tweeted this: New York City is not Gotham. We must not become a city where mentally ill human can be choked to death by a vigilante without consequence. There's also this from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democratic congresswoman. She said, Jordan Neely was murdered. What is your response to what they're saying here?
Well, both the congresswoman and the controller is a citywide leader. And I don't think that's very responsible at the time where we're still investigating the situation. Let's let the DA conduct his investigation with the law enforcement officials. To really interfere with that is not the right thing to do. And I'm going to be responsible and allow them to do their job and allow them to determine exactly what happened here.
Yeah, so you've seen that, you heard that. Now, despite all of the videos that are floating around on the internet of the guy trying to be like Michael Jackson, okay, they're trying to paint this narrative that this guy was so harmless, okay, that he just wanted to be like MJ, right? He was getting his life together. He just wanted some food and some water and a place to stay. This is why he was making such a commotion on the train, right? This is the narrative they're trying to put out there, okay? Despite all that, despite the race narrative here, the race angle here, Eric Adams is coming out and saying, look, we need to wait for the facts. Which, again, is rare from a Democrat to come out here and say, hey, what AOC is saying is irresponsible. Calling this murder prematurely is irresponsible. Now, again, this guy's facing a whole lot of criticism, too, over this. Again, a rare moment from Eric Adams of an actual reasonable position, okay, which is, hey, let's wait and see. And I think that, again, this is happening because the officials, the people with the most knowledge about this situation, know that this was probably justified, right? That's why I'm pretty convinced that more than likely this guy posed the actual real threat, okay? And that is why this happened, just based off everything that I am reading and I'm hearing about. But who knows? I mean, Alvin Bragg, the DA there, you know, he has an agenda, a political agenda. So he may end up charging the Marine anyways, despite the facts, because he has to appeal to the woke race hustlers. And speaking of woke race hustlers, Eric Adams, again, is a woke race hustler. Now, again, I'm surprised he didn't take that position here. But CNN did a rare good job of journalism by actually calling out Eric Adams for race hustling with the accusation that Greg Abbott is busing illegal immigrants to black cities only, okay? That, again, Eric Adams somehow is being racist and trying to make black mayors look bad because, again, he's busing illegal immigrants to black cities only, and CNN actually decided to fact check him on that statement to his face. Take a look.
Ask you about what you were saying about Greg Abbott. He has been busing, even today, busing thousands of migrants to this city. But you said this week that he's sending them to black-led cities, your city, Washington, D.C., Chicago. Are you saying here that he is doing this because of the race of the mayor of the city?
Well, let's be clear here. It was placed in quotes on one of the front pages of our paper that I called him a racist. It was placed in quotes. I never said that.
I mean, I didn't say that you called him a racist,
I
but you said
did.
he was sending it to all black-led cities,
Right.
right?
I want to be clear. I said the front pages of the Post, not you.
Yeah.
That's what they stated. What I'm making clear of the fact, not based on my opinion, he sent them to New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Denver,
But also Philadelphia, which has a white mayor.
all of the, I have not received any reports from Philadelphia. I believe that he sent them to black cities, mayors where black mayors are. And I don't know if it's to undermine these large cities that are run by black mayors because of his political agenda. I don't know if he's doing it before their race. I'm giving the facts of where he has sent them to. Washington, D.C. These are cities that have black mayors. And that is a fact. That is not my opinion. And that is not defining why he's doing it. I'm laying out the facts.
But you acknowledge, we did the research. He did send them to Philadelphia as well. Does that change your view of
No, not at all.
What he's doing?
We have 108,000 cities in America, in town, in villages. 108,000. Look where he sent them to.
Yeah, he sent them to the biggest, largest liberal cities that claim to be sanctuary cities, that were so welcoming of illegal immigrants when they weren't personally dealing with the problem. That is where he sent them to, right? He sent them to places that openly stated that illegal immigrants are welcome here, right? We love you, we want you, and we need you, okay? Again, they were all for that until they actually got what they asked for, right? They were all for that until they actually got what they wanted, which is the illegals. And now all of a sudden, they've gotten illegals. Now they want to cry foul and boo-hoo, whine, and complain. Woe is me. Please stop sending illegals here. Again, Lori Lightfoot, again, was on this jam just a few days ago on CNN complaining about the illegals in Chicago.
Chicago's outgoing mayor, Lori Lightfoot, who you just heard from, is now urging Texas Governor Greg Abbott to stop sending busloads of migrants to her city of Chicago. Lightfoot yesterday wrote in a letter to him saying, quote, "Your lack of consideration or coordination in an attempt to cause chaos and score political points has resulted in a critical tipping point in our ability to receive individuals and families in a safe, orderly, and dignified way." Mayor Lightfoot is back here at the table with us, also joining our conversation on immigration and other key issues. CNN senior political commentator and former Republican congressman from Illinois, Adam Kinzinger. Thank you both. Two questions for you on this letter. One, have you heard anything?
No, we had not heard anything back. And frankly, I didn't expect to hear anything back. But I felt like it was important to once again try to engage the governor, but also let him know what his policies and practices are doing in cities like Chicago. We are completely tapped out. We have no more space, no more resources, and frankly, we're already in a surge. We've been seeing over the last week 200 to 100 plus people coming to Chicago every single day. We call them walk-ins because they're not coming on buses, but they are coming on planes from San Antonio. And we're very concerned because they don't seem like they're getting screened at the border. We've seen people coming with serious medical issues.
Well, I imagine his response, though, would be a defense of what they're doing. Obviously, he's continued to do this. And what Governor Abbott has said in the past is that this is a way for other states and other cities to see what Texas and Arizona deal with, saying that they are bearing the brunt of this issue, and they're basically just showing other people what it's like.
But what's getting lost in what the governor is doing is the fact that these are human beings. In any other emergency, you would be coordinating, you'd be collaborating, you'd be talking about specifically what the needs of the people are. We've seen people come off of these buses that he has sent who are victims of sexual assault, who have serious medical conditions that can't be dealt with by the paramedics that we have on site. They've got to be rushed to the hospital. Women who are in such an advanced stage of labor, they literally get off the bus and give birth within one of our facilities. That doesn't make any sense. So if we don't put the humanity of these migrants front and center, I understand, and I'm solely compassionate to the fact that the borders are themselves really overrun, but you don't solve that problem by simply sticking people on buses to a city that they didn't ask to come to for an uncertain future, and now where we are literally full.
Yeah, that clip will never not be hilarious to me, okay? But again, back to Eric Adams, who basically cried racism and then wanted to get on CNN, and when called out about it and fact-checked and showed that, hey, Greg Abbott is also sending illegals to cities like Philadelphia that has a white mayor. How can you say it's racism? Again, he wants to deflect and say, well, I'm just stating facts. The facts is that he's sending them to cities with black mayors. And it's like, yeah, but he's also sending them to cities with white mayors, right? Again, it's just amazing how that works. It's not about black or white. It's about the fact that these big liberal cities just happen to be run by black mayors, most of them, and some of them are run by white mayors, and guess what? They're getting illegals too, right? It's just that you guys are making the biggest fuss about it. You guys that was the loudest about how we need diversity and inclusion and we need illegals and, you know, we love them and we're sanctuary cities. You guys that were the loudest about it are the ones that are complaining the most. You're complaining the most. Then you're getting what you asked for. And this man wants to boohoo, whine, and cry racism. And then he wants to deflect when getting called out about. Again, Eric Adams is one of the most frustrating Democrats because there's some things that he says. Sometimes he comes out, I'm like, okay, this guy is promising, right? This guy seems to be one of the very few reasonable Democrats. And then there's other things where he comes out, he says some crazy stuff. Well, I'm just like, this guy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? He's a race hustler. He's a race baiter. He's off his rockers. I just don't know what to make of him, right? I really don't. But again, race hustling Eric Adams, bad. Common sense, pro-law enforcement Eric Adams, good. I'm glad he's pushing back against AOC in the woke revolutionaries when it comes to Jordan Neely narrative. You also had Kathy Hochul came out and gave a statement saying that most likely some type of mental health episode led to this. She's not necessarily condemning anything. She's not saying anything. Again, it tells me that more than likely this probably was justified. So we'll wait and see for more information, again, which is something that is unheard of in 2023. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.